During the ascent of the Red Bull-Honda package in Formula 1 this season, you might have noticed various comments about its straight line speed compared to the Mercedes. On the Mercedes side, there is a clear correlation between Honda's second engine of the F1 season and its lead car's growing advantage. On the Red Bull and Honda side, this is at best a misleading interpretation and at worst a deliberate attempt to cast aspersions. Why does this matter? Well, because correlation doesn't equal causation, and this year engines can't have performance upgrades during the season. So let's explore the comments that have been made, the inherent suspicion around them, what Honda says about the various theories, and the development it is conducting this season, but not for use in 2021. Red Bull and Honda have won the last 5 Grand Prix as their package has edged ahead of chief rival Mercedes, giving Red Bull and Max Verstappen the lead in both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. In the middle of that 5-race run, Honda introduced fresh engines at the French Grand Prix. This came one race after Mercedes put new engines in their cars in Azerbaijan, as the various engine manufacturers attempt to negotiate the full season with a limit on the number of power unit components that they can use without getting a penalty. Putting fresh engines in the car isn't the problem, but it was here that the unexpected scrutiny of Honda's second engine began, with comments from Mercedes boss Toto Wolff and world champion Lewis Hamilton suggesting Red Bull's engine may have got more power. Hamilton was the main cause of the questions that followed, as he repeatedly referred to that theory through the Styrian and Austrian Grand Prix weekends as well. Red Bull took these comments to be clear suggestions of a performance upgrade, which moved team boss Christian Horner to ridicule Hamilton's theories, calling them some way from reality. Verstappen was also peeved, complaining about the many questions he's had about Red Bull's straight-line speed and saying he'd have to print out pictures of the different rear wings on the two cars to prove that any benefit was coming from Red Bull switching to a lower drag setup. As for Wolff, he'd said there had been a huge step forward with the Honda power unit, although later it was suggested this was not a remark about the second engine specifically, but a general comment about its improvement in 2021 compared to last year. He also moved to ease tensions when he recognised the role of the different rear wings and suggested it was wrong to question whether the Honda was producing more power. That said, he was still moved to have a little dig at Red Bull and Honda when he questioned why they were so bothered about how this topic was being discussed. Meanwhile, Hamilton has continued to make reference to the significance of the second Honda engine, even if not overtly stating it has had a performance upgrade. Essentially, 2 or 3 weekends worth of little comments, some subtle and some not so subtle, at least prompted Red Bull and Honda to face questions they felt were simply unfair. Honda has admitted its engine performance might be better now than it was earlier in the year, but that's because it's simply maximising more of its potential as the season progresses. It has emphatically denied any suggestion it has upgraded the engine in performance terms. Asked about the power output of Honda's engine allegedly increasing, Honda F1 technical director Toyoharu Tanabe said, "I'm very happy if it is true. It's not true. Under the current regulations, any performance update is not allowed during this season. As a result, our second power unit is the same as the first in terms of specification and performance." Honda has introduced small changes for reliability for its second set of engines, but this is within the rules. Changes can be made for reasons of reliability, cost and logistics, but to get those changes approved, manufacturers must submit details of their plans to the FIA. These documents are checked and circulated among rival manufacturers as well, allowing them to challenge any change to any single part specification. This painstaking process is to protect the integrity of the in-season development freeze. In the past, manufacturers have used so-called reliability improvements to unleash more power. Some have even been said to have made up reliability problems in order to do that. But for those reasons, Tanabe says Honda has been very careful not to change the performance of the engine within its reliability countermeasures. He simply said, "It's not possible to improve the performance during the season. That's my answer to that suspicion." Tanabe also insists the reliability fixes haven't allowed the engine to be turned up, dismissing a theory that Honda had a concern earlier in the season and ran the engine in a lower mode until a fix could be introduced. So how might Honda have made its power unit better within the tight restrictions? Tanabe states that the base performance specification of the power unit is unchanged, but the operation of it has improved. Honda's internal combustion engine design changed significantly over the winter. It made the layout of its camshaft significantly more compact and lowered it, in addition to changing the valve angle and shortening the spacing between each cylinder. The purpose was to change the shape of the combustion chamber and reduce the overall size of the engine, lowering the centre of gravity and changing the airflow on the camshaft. It resulted in an engine smaller than the size zero concept pursued with McLaren several years ago, but also gave Honda a very different relationship between the combustion engine and energy recovery systems. Tanabe said Honda is simply closer to the maximum potential of the engine now because it only started using this new design in pre-season testing and has gradually been learning how to optimize it, especially in terms of drivability and energy management. There is also an improved oil from supplier ExxonMobil introduced in the race before France that is meant to be better for reliability and running at higher temperatures. That may also be worth tangible lap time as it is optimized. Honda is actually undertaking a serious F1 development program in 2021. It's just not for this year's engine or an engine that will actually have the Honda name. At the end of this year, Honda will withdraw from Formula 1. Red Bull has agreed a deal to keep using the Japanese manufacturer's engines until 2024 and is setting up its own powertrains company to oversee that arrangement and build the first ever Red Bull F1 engine for 2025. But Honda will remain involved in the Red Bull project in some fashion, and while we're waiting for the exact terms of the agreement to be finalised and confirmed, we know a couple of very important details. First is that Honda will continue to assemble and supply the engines next year as the Red Bull powertrains facility will not be up and running. Second, and more importantly, is that Honda is developing its current engine for 2022. Red Bull has always said while it could find a way to maintain Honda's engines in the medium term, it would not be able to develop them. That's why it campaigns so heavily for F1 to introduce an engine development freeze in 2022 instead of 2023, locking the engine's designs in for 3 full seasons. That will stop rivals being able to improve their engines next year, while Red Bull is stuck with the same design sooner. Even with that compromise agreed though, there is still scope for manufacturers to upgrade their 2021 engine for the start of the 2022 season. Which is why it's so important that Honda is devoting time and money back at its Sakura headquarters to developing an engine that will never race under the Honda name. The work for 2022 includes adapting the internal combustion engine to be compatible with the new 10% biofuel that F1 will introduce next year. This is a serious undertaking and a project for which Honda will receive no public benefit. Next year's engine will likely be called a Red Bull and Honda's branding will probably disappear entirely. So while Honda is adamant there are no upgrades for its 2021 engine, it is still developing the design. That just isn't for use this year and is instead to allow Red Bull to have the best possible engine from 2022 through to 2024. But what do you think? Is there anything suspicious or controversial about Honda's 2021 engine, or is it just finally reaping the rewards of a long and sometimes quite embarrassing struggle to improve in F1? Let us know your view in the comments, leave us with a thumbs up if you enjoyed our video, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you want to come back for more in the future.